His name is Nick Olivas, and when he was 14, he had a sexual relationship with a 20-year-old. Regardless of the fact that he was a victim, it turns out that the state is now going after him for child support. Apparently, the woman who had sex with him when he was 14 got pregnant, and he didn't know about it until 6 years later. And then they contacted him and said, hey, you know what? You actually owe $15,000 in back child support.
What's up, YouTube? Poor.Mans.Podcast back with another video. Give me the HBO special. That's a help a brother out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Let's get right into the video.
I'm an equal opportunity, you know? I'm a yes girl to most things.
This is not condescending at all, but like I love how you really are like very brave. Yeah, I know that might sound like
you're so brave for loving.
Yeah, you're so brave for being a. But no, I'm saying like I feel like you give a different perspective of like being a right? Because like on one side of things, guys like these incel guys might be like, oh, like she's getting ran through.
Is that
she's
only
used.
Incel guys?
They're right.
Is that most
right? But yeah, but it's like you're right, but also it's like I'm in control. It's because I actually derive pleasure.
I definitely have like learned to have like really strong boundaries and like understand like I'm only gonna have sex with you if you're not a weird. You know, like I really don't care about the outside stuff. I just like a person who understands that this is just a moment, man. We are not fifth graders who still think body counts matter or like girls get gaped after 50 dudes. There's like, if you know Annabelle Chong, she's my hero. She is an Asian woman who graduated from USC and she 300 guys in 10 hours. And she famously said, there's no difference having sex with one guy for 10 hours versus 300 guys in 10 hours if all of it is protected and consensual. Yeah. Except for the visual.
300 dudes? She must be on the carnivore diet. In the 1800s, there was a teenage girl that got hit in the head with a metal rod, which fractured her skull. Now, as a result of having a fractured skull, she had excruciating migraines. She had seizures. She had narcoleptic episodes. And when she would have those episodes, she would consider them to be visions. And with excruciating, debilitating migraines and seizures, she escaped slavery, and over the next 10 years, she traveled down south a total of 19 times, saving hundreds of slaves. That girl was Harriet Tubman, and that's what it used to mean to be a hero, and I say that to say this. In 2022, Harriet Tubman is given the same accolades as a woman who decided to sleep with the entire Spartan army. And I know this specific example seems like a bit of a reach because most people don't consider Mia Khalifa to be a revolutionary, but Charli D'Amelio is a 17-year-old TikToker who's world famous for doing the same dance that everybody else is doing, just in a bikini. Her following is massive. She has 170 million followers. If her following was a country, she'd have the 8th largest population on the planet. I think that's a little odd. What I'm basically trying to say is I would assume you can tell the direction a country is going in by the people that they call heroes. When you have more young girls wanting to be like Charli D'Amelio than you do Harriet Tubman, something ain't right.
Yes, and hear me out. I see this conversation happening a lot, and one key thing that isn't being mentioned is the economy. We live in a capitalist society, and between 2018 and 2019, I was reading a lot of articles about teen pregnancy being the lowest it's ever been in American history. Women are choosing not to have kids, and then we also have the mortality issue. And so for the first time in American history, the main concern is who's going to replace the workforce if women are choosing not to have kids. And I'll show you right here. As you can see here, it's always been about the economy. That's why you see the Texas abortion ban and abortion being a topic of conversation now. It's not about pro-life or family and love. It's about having the society run on workers and keeping our choice away from us.
Well, this is also the first time in human history women actually have the choice. People have to understand, historically speaking, women were using their fertile years getting pregnant. Women weren't in the workforce because men oppressed them. Women weren't in the workforce because they had to have children, because there wasn't any Social Security until about 1935 or sometime in there. So if there is no Social Security, the only way you can make sure you have a future is if you have children that can take care of the farm and provide for you in old age. Now, thanks to the patriarchy that everybody seems to hate, you have birth control and you have Social Security. So women can spend their 20s to 30s chasing a job and working 40 hours a week. That being said, population collapse is a huge problem. Elon Musk and Jordan Peterson have even spoken out about this and said that this is the #1 threat to human existence.
I can't emphasize this enough. There are not enough people. And I think one of the biggest risks to civilization is the low birth rate and the rapidly declining birth rate.
So what pretty much happens during population collapse is there isn't enough people in the productive years to take care of the elderly because the elderly didn't have enough children. Pretty much what happens is welfare and Social Security starts to collapse because there isn't enough productive people that can contribute to it. And that's why I think it's a little weird that she considers this to be a win, because we all know that women live to be older than men on average. We all know that women tend to get more welfare and government benefits than men on average. And we also know, regardless of this boss babe fallacy, especially specifically for African American women, they make about $37,000 a year on average. At the rate of inflation, with a slice of bread costing $500 next year, I don't think that that's going to be enough for you to survive. And there are a lot of people that are going to suffer from this, and a lot of those people are going to be women. I don't know, I just think it's very selfish and anti-human to be rooting for the collapse of your own species. Always thought it was funny that the same people who cheer for society to crumble would probably be the first people to die if it actually did crumble.
There's an interesting case out of Arizona involving a man who was a victim of statutory rape when he was 14 years old. His name is Nick Olivas, and when he was 14, he had a sexual relationship with a 20-year-old. Now, it's important to keep in mind that according to Arizona state law, children younger than the age of 15 are not able to consent as an adult under any circumstance. So, as you know, this was a case of statutory rape, and the law did go after the 20-year-old woman who had a sexual affair with him. Now, regardless of the fact that he was a victim, it turns out that the state is now going after him for child support. Apparently, the woman who had sex with him when he was 14 got pregnant, and he didn't know about it until 6 years later. And then they contacted him and said, hey, you know what? You actually owe $15,000 in back child support.
There is a good reason why there's a statute of limitations for other offenses, so that you don't wait around.
I'm talking about but listen, one of the things about cases like this that gets my blood boiling a little bit is people will go, oh, this poor 15-year-old boy with a 20-year-old girl. I wish I were 15.
Right.
And the reality is that the outcomes on these young males are not good. Now, we don't really know, is it the fact that they were sexually abused that make the outcomes no good, or are these women picking males that are at risk? This kid, he did have some criminal, was arrested in July for some criminal damage. He was, when he was picked out by this devious woman, you know, I guess, should we say allegedly? I can't say allegedly because we know there's a baby. When she picked out this kid, his mom had just died, if I remember right. Is that the history?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Evie, this woman really is something, isn't she?
Yes, that's why I'm just looking at this mother, and if I were him, I would get a lawyer and I would do everything I could to get something on this woman. This is so inappropriate and so wrong. This is where you see the law being twisted, and the offender, the bad guy, is getting away with it. And these are one of those times where the legislation is just not working right.
So I will say it again, that these boys end up having bad outcomes. There's a lot of aggression and criminality and whatnot later. And we don't know, is it the result of being sexually abused or that these women have picked guys that are at risk? Either way, it doesn't make them better, that's for sure, and the outcomes are not good. So those of you that feel that, oh, we shouldn't feel too terrible for this 15-year-old boy, yeah, think again. It does traumatize him. It does traumatize these kids. Mark, is there anything he can do?
Of course. Unfortunately, no, but I'll tell you this. I'm surprised that the people on the panel here think he should be ordered to pay. I think there needs to be a exception which would preclude someone who's been a victim of assault from having a financial obligation down the road.
So this 20-year-old woman takes advantage of this 14-year-old kid whose mother just died, so he's probably dealing with some mental health issues. And I actually did some more research on the topic, and I found a picture of the culprit. No, but this is serious. Imagine if a 20-year-old man slept with a 14-year-old girl and got her pregnant. Not only is this man still on the loose, he hasn't done a single day in jail, but he's waiting for her to become of age so that he can exploit her again through child support. So she took advantage of him physically and emotionally, but that wasn't enough, so she had to come back and try to get him financially. And the government, like the gangsters they are, helped her do it. And then people wonder why channels like mine are growing so fast. And I call them gangsters because they're in on it. The state gets 66 cents of every dollar that's collected from child support, and then they'll justify it by saying everything that they do is for the betterment of the children. A father is the most important component in a child's life, and obviously in this situation is unfair, but even in normal situations, the state is willing to lock a father up because he can't afford to pay the child support, and then they'll say that's for the betterment of the child. This is just more proof that when it comes to family court, men are guilty until we're proven innocent. Till next time.
My boo, I'm just here for the rendezvous. And I came with the whole damn crew, cause I've been feeling like you want me to. He say stop saying I'm so I can't help myself when I pull up.